Everybody. I want to welcome you to another awesome episode of ShiresTV. This one's very special because I'm joined with some really great friends of mine who are all incredible musicians and educators and clinicians and formed together to assemble the core of the Southeast Trombone Symposium. The organization is absolutely incredible in delivering wonderful music, working with composers and arrangers to promote new works for trombone ensemble, teaching people about how to play an orchestral section, and also a lot of fun competitions and just promoting wonderful musicianship. So tonight I thought it'd be really great if we could chat with the founders of this awesome endeavor and also learn a little bit about what STS is, this upcoming event that's going to be happening in August, and then also to the future too. So on the panel tonight, we have Nathan Zgonc, we have Colin Williams, we have Brad Palmer, and we have George Curran. I have to say I'm thrilled that all of them are Shires artists and good friends, and it's been really nice to be able to work with them in all these capacities, but STS has become a really near and dear thing for us here at the Shires Company. It's almost like a family reunion in a lot of ways that we get to spend time with everybody, and we love to be involved in this organization, so it's a total thrill for us to be a part of it every year. But without further ado, I think we can go around the table and just remind everybody who each panelist is, and maybe talk a little bit about what you do, but also how STS was formed and what your thoughts were about like kind of joining and putting this thing together. So I don't know, Brad, do you want to lead it off?
Sure. So Brad Palmer, I teach at Columbus State University here in Columbus, Georgia, and that's where we do the STS every summer. We took a year off in 2013 to host the ITF, and as many of you know, we're going to actually be partnering with the ITF for our event next year, so we're super excited about that. But yeah, I've been teaching here in Columbus for about 20 years, get the opportunity to go sit next to Nate and play up in the Atlanta Symphony a little bit here on a subbing basis, and have been doing that actually since Colin and George were with the orchestra, in Atlanta as well. So yeah, that's my thing. I teach and play as much as I can, and happy to be, a founding member here and get the STS off the ground. We're looking forward to our 10th anniversary celebration this summer. Unfortunately, it's going to be streaming, but hey, better than nothing, right?
And you also have some involvement with ITF, right? So
I do, yeah. So I also serve on the ITA executive board and on the ITF board as well. And so that's, two very important organizations for our instrument. And it's been my pleasure to be a part of both of those organizations for a while now.
Awesome. Let's see, next on my computer screen is George. What about you, George?
Well, I'm the bass trombonist in the New York Philharmonic and was previously sitting next to Nathan and Colin in the Atlanta Symphony. It was for a few years at least, and we've been doing this since 2010. We had sort of did a solo or a section CD when Bill Thomas was in the group, and we put together this workshop, and it's been one of the most fun things to do over the course of the year. We planned for it throughout the year, and every year has been bigger. And I don't know what kind of numbers we'll have this year for streaming, but it looks pretty good. So, and we will be doing a couple of recitals like we normally do. There's going to be an excerpt class, a lot of Q&As, and panel discussions, master classes, and then I think all of us are also doing some private teaching on the side. For some like the STS rate, and we also have a bunch of extra people who are coming in to help us for the last day. But I'm not currently in New York. I'm in Michigan over the summer, staying with family because it's just a little less dense and not so expensive. And yeah, we'll see what happens in the fall. But yeah, probably Nathan or Colin might want to speak next.
Yeah, so yeah, Nate, let's get over to you real quick.
Cool. I'm actually not a founding member. It was really cool. I think I'm Bill Thomas basically. So I've always done that. It's funny. I've always gone to places after Bill. He joined the Navy. I joined the Navy. He moved to Florida to join an orchestra. I moved to Florida to join an orchestra. He won Atlanta. Then I won Atlanta. So it's one of those things. It was pretty cool. When I remember being in Atlanta, and then about, I think it was like February or March, they asked, so what solo are you going to play? And I'm like, for what? And they go, STS. And I'm like, what's STS? Because I didn't realize what was going on. I'm like, I'm just happy to be here, guys. And then they're like, oh, we're going to play the Bourgeois Triple Concerto. And I'm like, great, what's that? I'm like, I'll do whatever you guys want. And it was one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of. And I'm so happy to still be a part of it and get to do it every year. As George said, I look forward to this. Like, I mean, I plan basically my next year. I'm thinking about it all year. What do I want to play? What do I want to learn? How am I going to build my technique so I can do better next year? Because as everyone knows, it's just like you play so much at STS. It's like you just have to evolve and get better, or to make your XTS more doable next time, because you're kind of flying by the seat of your pants the whole time, because you have like great players there, and you want to make sure that you're successful and being a valued member and helping everyone out and doing your job while you're there. So a little about me. I am I think it's a conundrum what I do for a living in the Atlanta Symphony. I'm acting principal for like the 5th year in a row. No, not 5th year in a row, but 5th year. I played second trombone 3 years. This is my 8th year. Is it? Yeah. So, and I played first trombone 5 years, but my official title is second trombone / bass trombone. That's my official title. So it's kind of weird. I never know what I'm going to do. And, depending on next year, I might be our official bass trombone player next year. They'll let me know, depending on what's happening in the world of auditions and whatnot. So
that's pretty wild, man.
Well, apparently my contract, I would be, the way it's worded, I basically have to do whatever they tell me to do. And so it is fun, but it's cool. I get to do different things every day.
Yeah,
so
it's flexible.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, no kidding.
But anyway, well, that's my story about STS. I think it's really cool, and in my mind, it's so fun to be a part of, and just to hang out with these guys and get to do it every year. I mean, I look forward to it all the time. I mean, these guys all left me to go to New York and be awesome, and it's just to see them as little as I do is really great. So
that's awesome.
Anyway.
That's great. Well, speaking of one of the other New York residents, hey, Colin, why don't you give us a little bit of insight into who you are and your connection with STS?
Sure. I'm currently the associate principal of trombone of the New York Philharmonic. And yeah, STS sort of grew out of initially this time in Atlanta where we were getting together to play, just like a lot of trombone ensemble music. We were doing some quintets where we just get together and record them. We were doing some Christmas carols. We were doing all kinds of things. And out of that, we started thinking about wouldn't it be cool for people to see what's going on down here? Because we felt we had a nice scene in Atlanta. There were a lot of people who just liked getting together to play. That eventually grew into the Atlanta Trombone Project. And out of that, sort of this idea that we should try to do a seminar. At the time, there weren't nearly so many seminars that were really out there. I mean, Joe had his seminar, but these days there's so many choices for students, which I think is amazing. But we decided, let's do it this way. Let's try to have the whole section involved, and let's try to have, a school that really hosts it and is a partner in it. And so it was really good, easy fit for us to put this together with Dr. Palmer, to take the section down there where we had done the CD recording, and to then extend this out into a recurring festival. And we didn't really know what it was going to become. We just knew it was something we wanted to try doing. And what did we have, 14, 16 people the first time around, something like that.
19, that's right.
And it was great. It was a lot of fun. And from there, we just kind of kept at it. And the STS is sort of over time kind of evolved itself into kind of a surprisingly large number of people that come and join us every summer. And what's great for us is not only is it just the core faculty of the 4 of us, but every year we have so many people that we're able to bring in, our friends and colleagues, and then people that who I think is really important for the trombone world to have more access to, that we feel now we have a platform for them to get in front of a lot of people. sounded like my son was about to come barreling down the basement stairs there. So yeah, I mean, it's been really interesting to see the change of this thing, to see the whole trombone world sort of going over to this thing where, you know, there used to be one or two symposiums. Now there's so many, and I think that's great because the amount of opportunities that are out there for trombonists to get together and learn in this kind of environment have only increased. And I think that for us too, it's been really amazing to then say, okay, so what is our role in this entire community of trombonists? And I think that's one of the things that's really cool about being able to partner with the ITF next year, is that since we started this thing, to watch the whole rise of all these different ways of engaging with each other and engaging with pedagogy over the summer, and then sort of have it come almost full circle to like, here we are with this little idea that we thought, and we're going to now partner with this incredible organization that's been carrying the torch for the trombone world for so long. And, I think that's one of the things I would never have predicted when we first started getting together to play quintets all those years ago, and just sort of like, well, let's play in Legacy Hall because it's an awesome place to play. And now here we are. So it's the evolution of the festival has really been something to behold. It's been really, really fascinating. And like I said, I think it's amazing because it speaks to the way that the trombone world is always pushing itself to get better and to learn, and the amount of enthusiasm and passion that exists for our instrument. And also, it's been really great to grow with Shires through this whole thing. We came to Shires really early on to see if they would be interested in partnering with us on this thing. And, I think, the company decided to support us really early. And, I think it's been a great partnership for us to be able to work with Shires all the way through all these years. So it's, this is kind of fun thing to do, to be reflecting upon not only the way the festival grew, the way the trombone pedagogy as a whole has grown, but also how the partnership between, the Southeast Trombone Symposium and Shires has gone. It's really kind of amazing if you actually look at it on a chart. It's pretty, it seems improbable, but it still happened.
It's become a total pillar for us. I mean, it's like a pillar of our year with STS, and such a hugely important thing for us as an organization. And like so many of us, I mean, Alexis, my colleague, came to Shires to work at Shires because she won a Shires trombone in an STS competition. I mean, like, how full circle is that too? It speaks volumes. And I can't tell you how many students who are now professionals or colleagues or whatever, who we've met through this STS process. And it's been a pretty special kind of thing. I think like the coolest thing to me about it is like one of the words that you said, Colin, which is a total buzzword. And this is what I like identify with STS is community. Like the amount of work that you guys put into making it open and accessible. And like, I mean, students get to see you in the real like setup of what it's like to be a musician and working with other people. And I think that's a really special thing.
One of my favorite stories in that regard was we used to actually serve breakfast at the STS. This was years ago when it was smaller and we could all actually fit into one room. And I will never forget, I came down for breakfast one time and George was sitting at a table next to a young bass trombone player that was visibly like nervous, like couldn't believe he was sitting there having breakfast with George Curran. And I was just chuckling inside. But your point about sort of community and everybody just being so accessible and hanging out, I think really does, there are certainly other great festivals out there and many that do a similar thing, but I think that does separate us from, a lot of the other, at least that's what we hear from our participants.
Totally.
That separates us.
So like, I guess who was going to say something? Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say that I'm a pretty slow to accelerate in the morning. I've got a lot of inertia, and I'm pretty sure I was not nervous at that point. I needed about 4 cups of coffee. It's a long, STS is a long stretch usually. I mean, the days are long, and you've got all kinds of rehearsals and lessons you're squeezing into the couple of hours you have, and I just remember the first STS or two we did were really brutal because we gave ourselves like 10 minutes between everything from like 8 in the morning till 10 at night. And
those 2-hour recitals we would do at night, that we learned from that. That's for sure.
So it's gotten a little bit easier, mostly because we couldn't survive doing that more than one couple times. So. But we've all learned so much music. We've met so many people. I mean, I've met students and professionals and people in the community I'm going to miss, seeing people in between all of the ensemble rehearsals and in between all of our events and after recitals like there's usually some sort of like a hang at one of the restaurants after the concerts, and everyone just hangs out. And so we're gonna try to supplement that a little bit with some panel discussions and like person to person Q&As where you're really sort of getting to talk with people during the STS, because I think that is a real big part of it. It's not just we stand up on stage and we play our excerpts and we play our solos. Like, you get to really communicate and hear some hopefully funny and educational stories.
Mostly appropriate.
Yeah.
Mostly appropriate. So maybe a good way to kind of like dive into this for anybody who's watching who doesn't know much about STS, like, what is it and what do you guys seek out to do during this amount of time, whether it's in person or streaming? What components do you fit together to make up STS?
Yeah, I mean, the definition of what that is has changed a lot over the years. Yeah. And I think what we look at now is, because we do have a lot more people than we ever would have imagined are attending the Southeast Trombone Symposium now. But it's become really important to us to make sure that it doesn't just feel like a factory, like here it is, here's some concerts, you see some people from afar, maybe you see them like once after a show for like a special event and that's it. And we try to make sure that it's an event where we've always tried to drive home the fact that we want it to be a place where everyone is accessible. So what that has meant over the years is bringing in more people that we find like inspiring as players and as pedagogues and just as colleagues, to help make sure that the experience remains, what we wanted the Southeast Trombone Symposium to be from the very beginning. So yeah, we have a few different classes now, and including this year, unfortunately, we were going to even have like a youth thing to bring in like the high school, because even high school kids who wanted to get into it, and it was much more complicated, but we, because of Brad and Columbus State and the logistical genius that exists with Brad, he found a way to make that happen, so, and we wanted to provide an experience even for the high school kids that would make them feel not just like going to school, but like here you are in this trombone community where everyone is in it together to try to get the level of trombone playing and as high as they could possibly do it, and to sort of support each other in achieving the highest level of success that we could possibly attain. And I think that's one thing that we try to cultivate in our symposium, the fact that we're not, obviously we're teachers, we're trying our best to inspire on stage, whether that's, and to be inspired. I pick up a lot of inspiration by listening to all my colleagues. But we also want to make sure that people understand that it's not just about like going out there and kicking butt on a solo, but it's more like here we are all there, letting down our guard, challenging ourselves, being very human in the struggle to improve, and hoping that mix really rubs off on people and gets them fired up about like, okay, maybe I don't play a high F like Nathan Zgonc yet, but I want to get out there and do it because, these guys, you can see they're in it because of the passion and the love they have for the craft and for the music and for the community. So that's what I think we're trying to do now with the Southeast Trombone Symposium. Even though it's gotten large, we've kept it as a main focal point to maintain that feeling of collegiality, accessibility, community, and just the pure like passion to improve, and that's what I hope that the people who attend the STS come away with.
That was a very wonderful answer.
Can I add something to that?
Totally.
And thinking about it from the student perspective, what do we want them to get out of it? One of the things that I think we do a good job of is you don't come to an STS to just watch stuff. You can, we have auditors, you can do that, but the students are playing. The students are, playing in trombone ensembles, getting conducted and coached by people. They're getting up and playing on master classes. One of the things that I think is the most awesome aspect of the STS is when the students get to sit down in a section. They'll be sitting right in between Nate and George, playing second trombone on an excerpt with their heroes. And Albert is down there on tuba. I mean, you kidding me? What an amazing thing. And so the students actually are involved. It's hands-on. And Colin mentioned our growing, and it's been wonderful. But the thing that we've tried really hard to do as we grow the number of students, we've also grown the faculty, right? So we've tried to maintain a student to faculty ratio that's conducive to, being approachable and being able to learn and interact, and not just, we want just bigger audiences and less interaction. So every year it seems we're adding more people, and which is great for us too. Like Colin mentioned, I mean, being inspired by our colleagues and having 9, 10, up to 12 folks to play chamber music with, and these giant trombone ensemble. I'm not talking about the professor's choir, that's its own thing, but on the end of our evening recitals, when we like bring up the whole team up there, and there's like 12 of us all of a sudden, it's really amazing to play in that environment, and I think the students pick up on that as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's so just as a distill it even down a little bit more. So for this upcoming one, right, we're going to be streaming.
Yep.
Needless to say, but we're still going to be able to offer some incredible content. So like maybe Nathan or George, if you want to touch on that a little bit about what will still be transpiring this year, even if it looks a little bit different than previous years.
Yeah, I think this year we have 2 recitals this year, I think, and because the excerpt class is such a popular thing every year, we've kind of made that a concert. I think it's going to be easier to do it then. And what else? I think everyone's giving a class. Everyone's giving a master class, and we'll have people, unmute themselves on their end. I actually just finished put together an online trombone seminar a couple of weeks ago at this point, and that was kind of a very helpful way to do things, where you just you have somebody play on their end, and then everyone else gets to see them play. They get a little nervous and play for somebody, and then they get the real-time comments. And so we can do all those things, and we're going to have some interactive question and answer sessions, and also with a larger group of us, we're going to be having some panel discussions on a variety of topics that are sort of important right now. And those I always feel are really, I think, enlightening for not just the students, but I think it's great to hear the questions that come up during those meetings. We have a lot of things we want to talk about oftentimes, but a lot of times the students will ask a lot of great and really timely questions. And so we want to talk about that and grow as a community together to do those things. What else am I missing here?
I think Nate should talk about that.
There's a whole additional day on August 5th. There's a whole additional day that we had people who were supposed to be here. Let's see, was it Jose Milton Vieira and Miami Shimizu? Bill was going to make the trek back from Zurich.
John Romero.
Paul Pollard, and I'm trying to remember who else is.
John Romero.
Jim Nova.
Yep, Jim Nova and John Romero. That's right.
Yeah, and so a couple of decent players. So,
just a couple.
It's just you can't. Yeah, it's for us it's really fun because if for those of you who don't normally play in an orchestra, if you do play in an orchestra, you play with like the same guys for years at a time, right? The same guys and ladies, right? Like your section is a pretty small, you spend more time with these people than anybody else, and you hear about a lot of other people, but all of a sudden for STS, it's really fun for us, and we've had other professionals just come back and want to hang, for the STS week, because it's just so cool to get to see all these great people, and we hopefully make it, fun for them to want to come back too.
Totally. And what were you saying Nate should add, Brad? What was that?
Nate should talk about the excerpt class. It's kind of special this year.
Yeah. We're really excited. Brian Hecht and Jeremy Buckler are going to join me, and the ASO trombone section is going to do the whole excerpt class this year. And we actually spent 3 hours last night social distancing at a church rehearsing the excerpts we were going to do and trying to figure it out. There's a couple great surprises. We found about 3 or 4 pieces that haven't been done yet, and a couple that it's hard because we can't use tuba with the situation right now. So we're gonna try to minimize the use of tuba for the excerpts, but we're gonna have to do some things because they're just really fun to play, and you can't not do them on an excerpt class. But we're just really excited. We spent last night. We're gonna do some period instruments, and we're gonna so it's gonna as much as we can. I know my Shires is a Con copy. So actually for a couple extras, I'm going to use Keith Brown's Con 8H.
Oh, cool.
And Brian's going to use his 1919 single trigger Con with the slide tuning. And and that'll be our probably our, except for my Glasgow for the other alto stuff, will be the only non-Shires instruments. So sorry. No, but it was really fun. We got together last night. We've been getting together in social distancing trios for about a month and a half now, and and Brad joined us for quartets one evening. It's pretty great. We got a whole church to ourselves. We spread out about 6-7 feet, and we just play, and it's really fun. It's hard to do. Like if you're gonna do like the Telemon, it's gonna be a little harder to do. You lose track a little bit in the fugues, but in the big space, like the Bruckner still sounds great, and like all that stuff still sounds great. It's hard to get it. It's going to be hard to get it together. We're excited to rehearse in Legacy and get it. So the class is going to be super exciting. We're trying to figure out where we're going to talk to, we just we're going to talk to baseball has the cutouts of people in the audience. Maybe we could sell cutouts for people to put themselves out there so they could be attending the symposium for the big concerts. So that would be kind of fun. And then the first night, I think the excerpt class is going to be on the 2nd. Is that correct, Brad?
Right.
And then Brian Heck's going to come down a day early and do he's going to join us and do a solo, and we're going to play a duet together. And I think we're going to finish the concert with a quartet. So that'll be really fun to do, and that'll be a live social distance quartet on stage. Nice. Which will be, it's hard to do nowadays. So it's going to be something special you get, because not many people can get together and do it. I think I saw the Boston Symphony section outside doing quartets in Toby Off's backyard.
Nice.
Which was great. But I don't think many people are out there doing concerts in halls. So this is a great opportunity for the Atlanta trombone section to get together and actually, there's been such a cacophony with our trombone section for the last 3 years. You can actually see who's doing what and when right now. And then next year, it'll probably all change anyway. But right now, it's kind of fun because it's 3 guys from the Navy band getting together and playing orchestra music. And I think we're going to have a little sample on, is that right? We're going to have a little sample.
Yeah, so we're going to post something tomorrow. We just got some audio from the guys here. So we're going to throw it up on Instagram and Facebook so you guys can hear a little snippet about what they're planning on doing. So that'll be pretty cool. So stay tuned for that on social media tomorrow. Yeah.
So, that's basically the big news for us. So other than that,
quickly, just what the excerpt class is, because that's something that kind of grew out of STS and is pretty unique to you guys. It's now become more popular in other capacities, but how has that worked in the past in a normal situation, and why is that so special, and why do people flock to your YouTube channel to see these videos? Like even my husband, who's a trumpet player, just I'll come downstairs and he's just watching STS videos, which is hilarious.
Trombone's better, that's why.
It is true.
Trombone section stuff is better than trumpet section stuff, let's face it.
Really freaking true. 100%.
But I mean, I don't know. It is something that in the trombone world, we don't have the same kind of, especially when it comes to ensembles, we don't have the same kind of role as like a trumpet or French horn. We're not so often given, the melodic parts or the solo parts, that kind of thing. So really, trombone playing, in terms of how it's generally used, is all about, that section sound, that section blend. And I think that something about the people who are enthusiastic about the trombone, who fall in love with it, have a personality that is attracted to that idea of that blend, the collegiality, that sort of It's not always about the super soloist. It's about that section sound. And so I think that, as trombonists, we've always gotten together and played quartets, but loved, excerpts, and had a good time, just sort of, playing them as loud as we could, trying to knock the walls over, that kind of stuff. So when we started doing STS, we realized, this is something we should show. Yes, in college, we all are guilty of having gone into the practice rooms and just laid the loudest, worst, what Ride of the Valkyries, that had probably ever happened, and we decided, well, maybe we can save people some pain and try to demonstrate a little bit of a, pass on some of what we've learned so that they don't have to as long a route to get there. And those classes became really popular because not everyone, who's a student anywhere gets a chance to be near a section of people who have played together for so long, who have put in the time to really learn how to tune chords and to get the overtones to really jump out of a section. And for the first time you hear it, especially when it's isolated and you're a trombonist, it's really eye-opening, and so we wanted to try to provide that as best we could. And that sort of grew into this latest iteration of it, which I swear has to be the most popular thing at Southeast Trombone Symposium, because on everyone's Facebook pages after the STS, it's a picture of them playing in a section with George and Nathan, or with me and George, or, they're playing, a bass trombone player playing with whoever some of the guests are, and putting them in that section. And we sort of, I think it came philosophically out of that same thing, where we're showing them what it sounds like from the outside, but also being in the middle of it. The first time you really sit in a section where people know how to play in tune and to have a unified sound in terms of attacks and releases, it's kind of mind-blowing, and so we thought, well, let's try this. And the first time we did this class, I felt really terrible, actually, because we underestimated how much people would want to do it. And for an hour, we just sort of like got through a bunch of excerpts, and there was still like 30 people who were like lined up around the back of Legacy Hall who wanted to play. And I was like, wow, okay, we got to do better on this in the future. So this is something that we're trying to bring to it as well. It's not only, we want to show from the outside what a polished product is in terms of bringing the trombone sound and approach to some of these excerpts, but also the ability to sit in the middle of it and get a little bit of like real world feedback in time, and then get another chance to go through it is something that I think is a really valuable experience if you're a student. So I think that's,
Colin,
yes.
I think that's that real world feedback. They play it one time, and then Colin will tell them, oh, you got to do it like this. And it's an eye opener to go, oh my goodness, it really is that loud. or oh my goodness, it really is that soft. It's like, I remember at Vail, we did the Ride of the Valkyries, and I'm like, I can't keep up with David. I just can't do it. The dude is, you know what I mean? Like, even in a professional level, I still can't keep up with certain people. And that's how, just imagine how a college kid feels or a high school kid feels. They're walking up and they may think they've got it, and they've got it, they're ready to go, and they get in there and it's like, oh no, it's like twice as much as I thought. Or like the soft playing, twice as soft as I thought. Right. Which is more scary to me, honestly. But I'm sorry to interrupt, Colin. I just thought that was a really good point.
I think that's one of the things. I think that's a great point. Like you don't really appreciate. We take it for granted because we do it. We're lucky enough to be able to do it on such a regular basis, pre-COVID anyway. But to be able to experience it firsthand, it really, I think, the first time I played in a section that was really well put together and like sat down and like it kind of like changed the way I thought about the way I needed to practice, loud playing, soft playing, paying attention to the fronts of the notes, backs of the notes, all these kinds of things. Like, well, I need to get a lot more attentive to these, and I need to have a lot more to offer all the way around if I'm going to really be able to do what's happening in some of these sections that I look up to. And so we hope that we're providing that kind of feel to it. So yeah, extra performances are great. Obviously, we love them for trombone players. How can we not? But I think that also the chance to sit there and play in the section is something that, again, is pretty. We hope that it's a real special experience for those who get to do it. And we keep expanding it every year. So pretty soon we're going to have an STS week where people just come in and play excerpts, right? The way things are going.
You're totally
Where
right.
else? Where else are you going to get to play Mahler 2, the Mahler 2 chorale 7 times in a row? It's like, that's pretty fun.
I have seen so many people's profile pictures change after STS to just being in the section and playing next to George, or playing next to Colin are playing. Well, I mean, it's pretty hilarious.
And that's something that you can't really. That's something that you can't really. Even with all these apps that you have, and like whether it's an acapella or overdubbing, one of these things, it's just not the same as sitting in with a section for the way it feels and the way you react to each other's sound. And I've had some fun with working on some of that stuff, and people like Jim Nova have a lot of fun with that kind of stuff. I mean, they're masters. I sat through his seminar, his hour-long masterclass at the seminar I just had, and it was really cool to see how fast it can work. But it's not like an organic experience. I mean, it's super fun to do that, but it's not the same as sitting in the section and adjusting to each other, or figuring out who has the leadership role in any particular note.
Yeah.
And those little things you don't pick up. I mean, if you're a college student, you're going to probably get a couple of pieces to play per year, and that's not going to be enough to do that. And you have to get your own section together, and then have a group of people, like hopefully what we've been helping them with at the last bunch of symposiums, is to get people into a section that they could never play in a real life situation, and then that transfers pretty much to all the rest of their playing, I think. So it's really, really valuable.
It's pretty amazing. So maybe we can pivot a little bit. Just as a quick announcement, I think you can still register to be an auditor for this year, right?
Yes, we still have spots available. And I also, there's a good opportunity to mention the Washington Brass Institute has given us some scholarships for pre-college students. So anybody that registers for the streaming STS that has not yet entered college, as soon as they register, they'll immediately get a $40 refund on that $150 registration.
Pretty amazing.
And that covers all of the 5 days.
Is it for all kids, or?
Sorry?
Is it for everybody, or is there a limit?
So it's for pre-college students, and there is a limit. We still have I think 3 or 4 left though. So
nice. Okay.
Yeah, but there's still time all the way really up until the 31st. People can still register, and we've had a pretty steady stream here over the last several days. So we definitely have spots available still. That's one of the only good things about streaming the event. We can keep adding more. But
yeah, of course. And yeah, thanks to Washington Brass Institute. It's a pretty amazing scholarship opportunity. And for the pre-college students, what an amazing opportunity to get access to such incredible content and experience and all of that stuff. So it's very cool. Nice with the clapping. Yeah. So what is next year? Like, I mean, this is pretty awesome news. And when I heard about it, I mean, for me, it was so exciting to see 2 worlds coming together. So what is 2021?
Well, I'll tell you a little bit about how it happened. We were hoping to be in Japan just, a couple of weeks ago for the first ever ITF, in Asia. And then COVID hit, and we offered Japan 2021, which we thought was going to happen. But then recently they came back to us and essentially said, it's still too risky to plan an event in this environment that we have. And to be honest with you, we were a little bit stuck. We thought we knew where we were going to be in 21, and we didn't have a place to do it. So my colleagues on the ITF board really encouraged me to propose something to host. And, of course, I hosted the festival back in 2013, and we have a perfect place to do this. I mean, it's great. I mean, there's like 50 restaurants within walking distance now, and I mean, it's way better than it was in 2013 even. But I told them, look, I'm not willing to give up another STS, which is what we did in 2013. So long story short, we came up with a situation where we're going to partner together and have a single sort of co-branded event. And there will be certain things. My 3 colleagues here will all be, artists and be doing recitals, and we'll have certain things that are kind of branded as STS branded events. One of which is the New York Philharmonic section class, what they did in STS 2018. They're going to be doing that again. So that'll be be an STS event, the STS Professors Choir. But all of this will be within the ITF. It's not like a separate thing. You don't have to register for one and or the other. It's just one event that's co-branded and sort of mixed together. But if you'll allow me here just for a moment, I'd like to announce what I think is the coolest news that's just come up here, is we are going to be running our 3 STS competitions next summer. Thank you so much to Shires for giving us 3 instruments, one each for the winner of our Shires solo competition. We're doing the excerpts competition as well. And new this year, in 21, we're going to do the youth competition as well. And the winner gets an Alessi Q Series instrument. So thank you so much to Shires for allowing us to do that. The coolest part of this is the STS competitions are going to happen. And you can go to the STS website now. We just published that maybe an hour and a half ago with the repertoire for the solo competitions, guidelines, timelines, all that. But the cool thing is you can do the STS competitions and the ITA competitions within the ITF. So you could potentially, you know, come to, you know, an ITF, win a horn in the STS competition and win an ITF competition or 2. So students will be able to really do both or either or whatever they choose to do. And so we're so excited and so thankful for the opportunity to offer that.
It's pretty exciting for us too. I mean, we love the people that are involved with ITF and ITA, and of course you guys with STS. And for us, these 2 worlds combining is so exciting. And I think it's going to be really great because it offers the participants and the people who are you know, being a part of this a broader scale and more opportunity and more access to such incredible artists and panel discussions and masterclasses and performances. And like you said, the competitions, like, where else can you do and enter so many competitions and be able to get up in front of your peers and you know, feel a little bit nervous and put yourself out there, but have such a rewarding experience. I mean, this is going to be a landmark year in that sense, which is very, very cool. So what is it going to look like? You're still going to have some of the same things that we're doing, like you were saying, the Professor's Choir, all that kind of stuff. ITF itself is also going to have artists and participants too, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's essentially going to be the ITF that everybody's used to with sort of the additional element of the STS within that. Yeah, it's just really a single co-branded event is what we're looking at.
That's very cool. Awesome.
So Sam,
yes,
I am going to have to take off here.
Do it, man.
Unfortunately, I have to go host another meeting myself. So I just wanted to say thank you for having me on and you know, having a chance to talk about the SCS and everything like that. And gentlemen, I unfortunately have to take my leave.
Hey, Colin.
All right, see you guys later. All right, bye.
Haircut.
Yeah, I know. I need a haircut really bad. I don't know. Pretty good?
I do too. It's getting a little long.
All right, man. Have a good night.
All right, take care. Bye.
Yeah.
Ken Wolf just commented on the feed.
Oh, hey, Ken.
Yeah, he said that the Washington Brass is planning on sponsoring.
Oh, that's so fantastic.
Next summer. So that's really good news. That was really nice to have. You know, the generosity of Washington Brass that to really promote what would be probably the premier youth trombone festival you can make. So I think it's really great.
Yeah, and for people who are interested for more info on this current SDS, which the official dates are what now? It's
August 1 through 5.
August 1 through 5. It's streaming, so you can do it from the comfort of your home. But there are still audio spots available, and I linked that in the comments, so you can check out the website there. But as Brad said, there's also info now about 2021, specifically the competitions, and I'm sure there will be more and more announcements of things that are going to be coming out, and as we get closer and people are looking forward to this 2021 event too.
And one quick thing about this year that I wanted to mention is we are going to keep all of the content up until September 1st for the people that are registered. So nobody's going to have to sit in front of their computer or their smart TV, you know, for 5 days straight and get trombone overload. You can catch as much as you want to live, but then our people that are registered will be able to watch all of that content until September 1st. And we've had a lot of people register from, you know, lots of different continents that really appreciate the flexibility in terms of time zones. So
We were joking when we were trying to put together the schedule about it being called Trombone TV, because you just sort of tune on at any given time, and
Totally.
yes, it's still going. But I think that's really great that yeah, you'll have the ability to see as much as you want, but then if you've got things going on, just to sort of make a mental note. And I think we're having a lot of fun putting it together so that it will be fun for you to watch. And definitely, I think if you're this would be a good time to connect your laptop into your stereo system. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's still going to be absolutely amazing. And I think there's going to be a mix of some stuff that's live, some stuff that's pre-recorded. But I've got to say, like, the facilities that are at the university, I mean, maybe, Brad, you can touch on that, like what the hall is like, because it's also going to be where everybody is for 2021. But like, what's the setup there? Because it's pretty unique among.
Yeah. The hall is gorgeous to look at, but of course I'm a little biased, but trombone sounds amazing in there. And we've had guys from really all over come and do solo projects and section projects and all sorts of recordings that we've done there outside of STS. So it's a really it's a fantastic hall. But one of the neatest things about it is our streaming capabilities. We've got a 4-camera rig so we live stream, and it's mixed from camera to camera live that we push out there with our full quality recording studio audio. So it's not just a matter of us with a single camera at the front of the stage. I mean, it's really, really well produced, both in terms of audio and video. And yeah, we're looking forward to the streaming thing. It's very popular. We've got 130 or so people already registered for this year, and hopefully that's going to go up here in the next few days. But people, there's such a demand for it, we're realizing, and especially people in other time zones, that it's something we need to consider for the ITF next summer, to just build it with a streaming component. We're going to, of course, hopefully if COVID goes away, we'll be able to host the in-person event, but to be able to live stream a lot of what we do, I think, it's something that I think a lot of people are starting to realize, well, why don't we do that anyway, even if we can do it in person? So that's something we're considering, and we'll consider for future STS opportunities as well. We'll do our thing live, of course, and for the in-person audience. I mean, if you're obviously remote, you can't sit down in the section like we're talking about earlier, but there's a whole lot that you can gain for, $100 or $150 and not have to, fly in and deal with the, housing and all the transportation issues. So it's, it's something I think we're realizing is appealing for a whole lot of people.
Yeah, 100%.
And also, one of the big things also people may not think about is like this year you get to, if you want to watch a recital a couple times, you can.
Right, you can read it.
Before, you had to wait until it was approved to be put on YouTube, and make sure I didn't miss any high notes like I always do. And so it's pretty cool that you get a chance to go and actually rewatch certain things at especially at your leisure too. Like imagine you get, like, how many times would kids watch the excerpt class in full if it was available?
Oh my gosh,
for a month after, like with mistakes and all. I mean, that's kind of the fun part. It's like I can't concentrate for only so long. So it's kind of funny to see what happens when and where. But normally, like, everyone sees on the videos us doing it awesome, but sometimes it's the mistakes that are the best learning moment too.
totally.
It's about, you don't when you see the videos online, you don't see the communication about what we're thinking about, who's the important line, and all the dialogue that goes in before every excerpt or after every excerpt. And this might be the one we show might be the 3rd or 4th time we've done it. So it's like, it was I remember we did Shasti 5 with Brian, and you see the one, everyone knows that one. And but you don't we don't see the first time where like I think I played an A natural 7A flat or something, so it's kind of fun to do, to see bloopers. It's like baseball. I don't know. But it's like things that you can get that you wouldn't normally get. And I'm a big proponent of having a live stream version of it, even for kids that are there, so they can go and relive it while they're there. It was really funny. I never told you guys this, but apparently a kid took his cell phone. Remember Colin and I did the Romeo and Juliet? So I walked into a bathroom after later that night, and just on the way home, and some kid was playing it in the stall.
What?
Just I'm like, what? I was like,
Yeah.
all right. So it's like,
Trombone recital.
so like, but if they could go on Zoom, they wouldn't have to go. And but it was just interesting how like I see the value of that for students and what they like to do. And it's like, it's funny because there's a part where I have a pedal E to pedal G, and Colin has the octave above, and so it's just like you walk in the stalls. It's just like,
Kind of appropriate for the.
what's going on in here? It's just funny. Anyway, I'll let you get back to it.
No, it's all good. I mean, like, really, like, the only other thing that I was going to say, and then, you know, I mean, I'm just so grateful that you guys spent the time to come on here and chat about STS. I think I mean, for me, it's one of my favorite things that I get to be a part of all year. And for us as a company, I mean, we truly feel that way. And now being combined with ITF for next year, I mean, like, in what world does that ever happen? So it's very cool. But, like, I would love to know for each of you, and maybe next time we'll grab Colin's opinion on this a little bit earlier, but like, what's one of your favorite memories? Maybe one of your favorite memories and one of your favorite, like, funny kind of things. If they're the same, that's fine, but it'd be kind of cool to hear from each of you since you've been involved for so long with it.
I'll go first. One of my favorites, and it actually happens every single summer now, is just being in front of the professor's choir.
Yeah.
I mean, what did we have, George, last year? Was like 11 bass trombones or something absurd like that. And, you know, one bass trombone, like George and Brian and Paul Pollard and all these guys and Randy Haas last year. I mean, these guys count for at least 4 bass trombones. So I'm saying we probably had about 60 bass trombones total. But it's an amazing, I mean, when it's not deafening, and it does get that way sometimes, just the humility that I feel in front of that many amazing players. And, you know, of course we pay the STS faculty, but the professor's choir, all of these folks come to town, you know, on their own dime and make some of the most incredible music on way too little rehearsal. So both at STS and the professor's choirs played at a couple of ITFs before as well. Those are definitely some of my best memories. And the second, right below that, would be just the ability to play with these guys, to play chamber music, to play excerpts, to get, you know, I'm fortunate that I get to sub with the Atlanta Symphony from time to time, but to be in a trombone ensemble or you know, or you know, quintet up through 12 parts with just amazing all the way down the line is just an absolute artistic thrill for me. This is a ton of work to put one of these together, and I'm exhausted, and I don't want to talk to anybody or listen to trombone after one of these, but after about a day, when I get over it, I look back and think this is like some of the most rewarding stuff that I could ever put my time into. So those are it for me.
Yeah, man. That's pretty great. What about you, George?
Well, you know, I mean, I'm doing more soloing than I ever thought I would when I decided I really wanted to make this like the career that I'm in. You know, I really like the ensemble component, you know, so I always have a lot of fun with the excerpts every year. But, you know, but I do get to play those. I mean, it certainly it was so much fun to bring down, you know, to have, you know, Colin and I left Atlanta to go to New York, but to bring down the whole section and do a class together, and everybody got to, I mean, I don't know the last time Dave Finlayson had given a class. I mean, he's done a lot of classes over the years, and we're going to get all 5 of those, you know, 5 of those guys down for ITF next year too. I mean, David and Alan and Joe have all committed, and but to come back home, you know, down to Atlanta after both of us being away, that was really special to bring those guys down and sort of like, you know, it's like a reunion. But you know, that some of the ensemble stuff that you don't get to play in orchestra is pretty fun. I mean, certainly, like, I remember doing the Bourgeois Scherzo with Craig Mulcahy playing the top alto part and just like tearing the bell off of it basically. Somebody was playing, and you know, or you know, there's a lot of great stuff. It's just it's hard to narrow it down. And then of course there's like, you walk out of the Legacy out into the lobby and you're seeing everybody just belly laughing at some of the stuff that they had heard earlier. So
right.
Yeah, one good example of the belly laughing happens when you get Jim Nova and Nathan up there on the alto and Jim's amazing Star Wars stuff. I mean, just the
From like
sometimes we hear
yeah.
sometimes we hear people literally laughing out loud in the middle of the concert. They just can't hold it in. They're just beside themselves hearing these guys play. So yeah.
I mean, I remember getting to hear some of that stuff. I guess it was just at ITF last year, right, when you guys were doing like the whole big thing. Hearing Nate and Jim on either side, just destroying with alto trombone, just laying waste to everything. I mean, it's just so amazing when you get this group of talented players together. There's nothing like it. So I don't know, even for me, and I'm a trumpet player, so take what I have to say with grain of salt. But yeah, what about you, Nate?
I think my favorite thing about STS and the worst thing about STS is knowing that the last note you play at STS is the last note you can play for like a week. Like it's officially your last note. Like I get like, it's like play the Aben lead, and I'm just like, yeah, I'll play whatever part, doesn't matter. I just know whenever I'm done, this is the last note that I can physically play. Because I totally spend it all week.
Yeah.
It's like, for me, the extra class is one of my favorite ones of all time. I love doing it. There's a really cool class where I think we're doing a Mahler too. And Colin did something really cool, and I gave him a foot thing while we're doing it. And I saw the YouTube things, and everyone comments on my foot kick. Like, I'm just like going, yeah, it's like, that's really fun. Just and as George said, it's the ensemble, and not just excerpts, being able to play all this crazy stuff. Like I don't know. It's like you sit there and you practice it all for like 3 months before, and hopefully just hoping that you can make it through, like I said, and then you finally realize you did make it through, and you're like, thank you. And it's great. And then you realize and you hear back what you did, and then you're like, how did I do that? I want to figure out how to do that again. And then Jim keeps asking me to do these things where I play second alto to him, and I'm just like, he says, I'm the only one stupid enough to do it. So it's kind of fun.
No.
What?
You're the only one who hasn't said no.
Right.
That Eben lead tradition I really like. It's usually the end of like the culmination of all the ensembles, or the student ensembles go up that we terribly conduct, and then and we have other chamber music, and then the professor's choir comes up, and then at the end, everybody, all of the students and all the professor's choir get up and completely fill all around the hall and in the wings and everything. And we finish this, and everyone's just like, wow, that's so amazing. And then nobody claps because
it's all on stage.
Everyone was playing.
Well, there's like 4 or 5 parents out there.
Yeah, there's a couple. It's a couple. It's a little funny. But yeah, I love that every year. It's, the whole community getting to play together.
Yeah, needless to say, it's a pretty amazing organization. And thanks to all of you guys for all of your efforts, and for all of the faculty members and guest artists and all of the students. I mean, think about how many students and participants have come through in 10 years, and the wonderful places that they are now as professional musicians and teachers and people just who love trombone and love brass playing. It's really cool for us to be able to even see it on the other side, just people sharing their stories about, remember that time in 2016, or remember that thing that George said, and wasn't that, or whatever. I mean, it's a pretty special thing. So I'm glad we could talk about it tonight. I added some links and stuff, and we'll be sharing more info, of course, about upcoming STS news and things like that. Definitely the combined 2021 STS ITF as more information comes out. But I'm so excited for the streaming version and the accessibility that it'll give to so many people. And I think it's a really cool thing that you guys are doing and persevering despite our current climate. So yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. Is there anything else that you want to add, or anything else that I missed, Brad?
I don't think so. The only thing I want to just say again is thank you to you, Sam, for hosting us tonight. For you also as a the representative from Shires that's been so supportive for us for so long, and into the future as well. We really deeply appreciate it.
That's really sweet. It's a total joy. It's one of my highlights for everything that we do. So thank you. And our whole team feels that way, and that makes me very excited. So All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining tonight. And we'll continue with some more Shires TV broadcasts. I think we're gonna finish out, the summer and then tone it down a little bit. And maybe just do some occasional ones. So we'll keep people apprised on the schedule. But I am excited. We are going to start up with our virtual appointments very soon. My colleague Alexis will be in the showroom and be able to start working with people. You'll be able to go onto the website and just pop on and sign up for like a time slot, basically.
It's a great showroom to go to. If you haven't been there, it's really cool. The facilities are amazing. The sound space is nice, and
yeah,
they'll run your horn back and tweak it back in the shop. It's like it's a pretty. If you haven't been to the Shires workshop, it's great.
It's the first workshop where I picked out a horn, and then when I went on the stage, and my own stage, and it worked. Like it worked in the showroom, which is an incredible thing. I mean, like other people have great showrooms, but I'm just like, this is the first time for me where I went and found a horn that I could play and I liked it. And it's like, and then I went to the hall, and not only did it play well in the hall, all my colleagues said, Nate, what'd you do? It sounds so much better. No. So I mean, there is an advantage to it. So it's pretty awesome. Yeah. And the input that you guys are so knowledgeable on the input that it's that's the other great part is like you can how to say it. You know how to get people the equipment that makes them sound the way they want to sound. And you did that for me in about an hour and a half. It was like crazy. It was quick. It was quick and easy, and it apparently was the last bell we tried, but it worked out fantastic in the end. So
it's definitely one of the favorite things that we get to do is work with people to help them find their best, opportunity and equipment for playing and enjoying it. Well, I think we'll be able to at some point in the somewhat near future, COVID depending, start being able to allow some visitors to the factory. We'll make an announcement about that too. It may be limited. We may only be able to do like 1 or 2 a week to allow the instruments to like be in a quarantine situation. But we're so committed and so excited to at least being able to get face to face, even if it's on Zoom, to be able to talk equipment and help people out if they have questions. So that kind of stuff will be coming soon. In August, we'll start doing some of the virtual appointments and stuff. But yeah, everybody on Facebook land, as always, thank you so much for tuning in. This is a total highlight for me every single week, getting to talk with some of my closest colleagues and inspirations in the music community. And I hope everybody can follow some of the links and tune in for STS this year. And then of course, join us in 2021 for what should be a landmark event. Huge, huge deal. So
we need to get Shires TV like a little intro and an outro, like a funky little sound bit.
You know what, man? Yeah. That would make my day.
That should be the STS the next project.
All right, Nate, why don't you play one live? Why don't you come up with it right now?
I'm okay. My face is already tired. I'm sitting here talking about STS, and my face is just sitting there going, yeah. It's already starting to hurt, and we're not even playing.
That's that muscle memory, buddy.
What?
Easy. Well, thank you guys for being on here. Really appreciate it. And thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. And we'll stay in touch and we'll keep bringing you guys some content. So thank you.
Thank you,
Sam.
Bye, everybody. See you later.
Bye.
Bye, George. Bye, Brad.